Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Cal Turner Jr. to our Fireside Chat this afternoon. As all of you know, Cal is an extraordinary source of inspiration and support and love for Owen, for Vanderbilt, and for all of you in particular, the students. Cal is here today to tell us some stories. He is a man who has lived a life worth telling stories of. And he has the kind of insight and thoughts about his life that are worth listening to. So he has done the world a service in writing it down in a new book, My Father's Business, which is just being published today, is it not?
Oh, no, it's not until May 22.
May 22. So you are, don't tell anyone. If it's coming out
Sorry
very
with me if you do.
And Cal has agreed today to come and share with us some of the stories from that book, and also to respond to your questions, thoughts, and the like. So can I just get out of the way and introduce Cal Turner Jr.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm supposed to get up here. All right, that's good. That's good. It's wonderful to be here. You have no idea what you do for me. Thank you for your zest for this program that feels so good. I think my life has been largely about mentoring. I have been mentored by the best. And this book is my attempt to mentor the reader. And the title of the book is My Father's Business. And it was a joy for me to experience the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs of a family business that went from a single proprietorship, or maybe it was mutual. My functionally illiterate grandfather, who had a third-grade education and was 11 when he lived on a mortgaged farm, and his father was killed, and he was in charge of the family. And years later, he and my father started the company, at that time named J.L. Turner and Son. 3 months, well, they started it in October of 1939, and I was born in January of 40. And in a sense, I was born into the business. It's always been interesting to me to observe what persons do with their life. And I believe every person has his or her version of My Father's Business. And that's why I'm, as the former CEO of a Fortune 500 company, that's why I'm sharing from the heart. I'm sharing from the inside. I want you to understand all of the stuff that goes on in the real world of enterprise. Now, I must tell you that the literary agent on this publishing project has said, she's from New York, and she said, social enterprise, I don't even know what that is. So you and I have something in common, because when Dollar General went public, Wall Street didn't know what to do with Dollar General. didn't know what category to put us in. And retailing out in the small towns of rural America, they didn't get it, and we didn't conform to any category of retailing even. We weren't a discounter, we weren't a variety store, we weren't a food store, a drug store. What is that? So my life has been about pursuing something that cuts across a lot of different venues. And this program here cuts across many different disciplines. You're all different from each other, and there is a richness to your experience because of that diversity. Well, okay, let me try to explain to you what it's like when you're born into a role, and somehow I bought my father's expectation that I could fix whatever needed to be fixed. He gave me his name. He believed in me. And down through the years, I've tried to figure out what difference that makes when someone has the affirmation of the previous generation. And I have seen many notable examples of development in persons who have had good parents. And I've seen the opposite. I've seen examples of great development from persons who did not have good parents. What makes the difference? Well, I was born in a very small town, and the church was central to my life, school was, and I tried to measure up to a high expectation. How much are you driven by high expectation? I hope your drive is adequate for your fullest development, but not overpowering. So anyhow, I understand that a guess about the average age of your group is you're about 28. Well, so I've figured out that I should begin by sharing with you what happened to me when I was 28. When I was 28, I had been with the company almost 3 years, and my dad said, now we're going public and you're in charge. You are in charge. And let me tell you what I was in charge of. The company didn't have consolidated financials. It didn't have a chief financial officer. It didn't have a budget. Son, you had accounting courses. Took some down there at Vanderbilt. So take it and run with it. And we went public in December. And in January, somebody said something to me about an annual report. And I said, what's an annual report? Well, you have, okay. So I went in my office, closed the door, and by myself wrote the first annual report of the company. And I decided on the theme of profitable growth for our company. Now, I brought into the company my own sense of mission and purpose because I had discovered life's greatest challenge of me was that I should embark upon the role of boss's son, even though that's terrible to have to do. I've laughed that boss spelled backwards is double S-O-B. And a boss's son must therefore be a triple. And yet I had experienced experienced in our stores struggling people. When I came into the company after my Vanderbilt training, and I was an officer in the Navy trying to learn leadership the Navy way, and then I came back to Dollar General to try to put leadership in there, and it was entrepreneurial chaos, absolute confusion. And my dad was the center of a round organization chart with a lot of spokes out. He was the god of the company. And he almost said, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased." And I thought, holy whatever, you fill in the blank. I don't know what I'm doing. But I discovered that a good leadership persona was admitting that I needed the help of everyone else. I realized that leadership which dictates answers is not as effective as leadership which asks good questions. Leadership that recognizes that the good answers are out there. They're not here at corporate headquarters. And I didn't have the answer, so I had to take where I was, kind of like Mother Teresa was once challenged by someone for all the people she didn't reach in Calcutta. And they said, "Don't you worry about that, Mother Teresa." She said, "No, young man, I do what I can, where I am, with what I have, and I don't worry." Now, that's what I hope you do all of your life. I hope you do what you can, where you are, with what you have. And don't let yourself get bogged down in worry. How you connect with others, that's what leadership is about. Yeah, management, you get the job done. A boss can get a result, but a leader has to get beyond guilt or blame. And when my father said, "Who did that?" I said, "We're not going to ask that question anymore. We're going to say what happened and who needs help to fix it. And we'll come together." If you separate the person from the problem can be more easily dealt with. And everyone will come to help you. And today in society, I worry about the preponderance of blame and guilt everywhere. And I wish the leaders who are engaged in blaming others, labeling others, I wish their mother had been as good as mine. I'm blessed. Now, I think you're blessed. Here you are at this amazing place, and you're surrounded by talent that inspires you, and all of you have a bonding of wanting to be a part of things that matter to serve our struggling world. And I wish I could anticipate the problems you're going to have in your future. But I hope there's something in this book that will help you with that. Because I've been mentored by the best, and I want you to be. I used to advocate that every leader in our company come up with his or her statement of personal mission. And the way to do that is to define your number one value that you'll never compromise when it is in conflict with other values. That's the problem with life. If it were black or white, you'd know how to decide and implement, but it's gray. Good things seem to be in conflict with other good things. What is your number one good thing? that you won't ever compromise. And I decided that mine, and my term for it, is reconciling love. Love that seeks to accomplish the greatest good for everybody. And anytime reconciling love can help me to give someone a hug, I want to do that, because I like giving a hug better than giving a big kick in the derriere. But sometimes reconciling love requires that. And when you're a public company, you have all kinds of conflicting demands that you have to reconcile, and with the people who follow you in your company, you have to discern the best answer. And the best answer comes from the people who are close to the problem. They can help you. But I had any number of issues with investors. And in the early days, when we didn't have any financials, or I was in a meeting in New York, and there were 4 or 5 of them and one of me, this 28-year-old, no, but then I was 29-year-old boy from Scottsville. And I'll never forget, they asked me a question and I didn't know the answer. And I figured out that if I revealed to them I didn't know the answer, that would be my worst response. I also knew that there was nobody in the company who knew how to compute that answer but me, and I had to get back to the office and dig into our numbers to figure it out myself. So what I did then is what I don't recommend you ever do. I made what you called a wild guess. That's what it is. And the first thing I did when I got home was go to the office and compute the reality, which was here, and my guess was there. That was our first performance gap in the company. And we knew what we had to do. Now that gave me a sense of short-term purpose. But someone once asked my dad, now Mr. Turner, we know the mission of your son. But back when you were starting the company, what was your mission? My dad said one word: survival. He was the generation of survival. And I was the generation of what next. And my father was behind me all the way. He's saying, I don't know what's next, but I support your finding it out. You are blessed. I have been blessed. When the expectation imposed is daunting, it will bring out the best in you. It will bring out life's greatest opportunity. And as I take all of you in, I sense that you are persons who are willing to take it on and to make a difference. But, oh yeah, there are all kinds of, when you're CEO of a company, there are all kinds of different constituencies. You've got, first, I think you have the customer. And then you have your employees or associates. And I felt that the shareholder was third, because if you were primarily focused on the customer and on your associates or employees, you'll perform for the shareholder. And I tried to keep that in mind always. I hope that a good test of leadership is the success of a leader's successor. Because Dollar General has done so much better without me. And I feel good about that. I've learned that at the end of last year, that company has a Dollar General store within 5 miles of 75% of the population in the continental United States. At a time that retailing is troubled by the likes of Amazon, that company is thriving. And that company has a really good CEO now. And I think that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. And I hope your success far exceeds your expectation, and that you go in knowing how you will measure that success. Because sometimes the way the world measures success is not relevant to you and what you'd really like to be a part of accomplishing. And I hope you go for that. With your standard, you can redefine the competition. If you're really rooted in mission and purpose and in partnerships with others, you can redefine it. I used to visit Family Dollar stores in the wrong way, because retailers always go in as sleuths to the competition and try to figure out about price and display. Don't tell them who you are. I'd go into a store and I'd say, "I'm Cal Turner Jr. from Dollar General, and I'm here to learn from you." And they'd say, "Oh, what?" I'd say. And I was in a store once, and it was in January, and I said, "How well did you sell through your Christmas toys?" They said, "Oh, we sold our Christmas toys really well." I said, "We didn't sell ours worth a darn." They said, "We didn't sell ours worth a darn either." And I said, "Yeah, and I know you're not going to. Do you see how you have them on the ledge of your store, away from the customer's touch?" And then I decided I'd give the competition my greatest insight of what the competition should do, because they'd probably be too proud to follow it. So I said, "I recommend that you get the toys down and you group them together, maybe in one price point. $1 is the best price point God ever made. And put them together, put them down here where the children can get a hold of them and even tear them up. But get them down here off the ledge, because they're going to be on that ledge come next Christmas. But if you get them down here," and they kind of bristled, and I thought, well, that's a good idea they won't implement. But I was noble, wasn't I? I gave the competition my best insight. Well, everybody seeks a connection with others. And even the competition can respond to the right connection if you offer it based on your principle, and if you offer it with a sense of humor about who you are. Laugh at yourself. Competition will join in and laugh with you. So you have something going there. I mean, there are all sorts of, when you go against the norm and you have principle guiding you and mission guiding you, you have opportunity for a greater success than if you followed the norm. And you might rewrite a higher norm that others would want to follow.